You need to first learn the audio part. How do you pronounce everything first?
Right.
Because it doesn't matter that you read something if you don't know how you have to pronounce each letter. And with English, especially, that the sound will change. It depends if what letters are together. Not like in Spanish, it's just one sound. You don't even realize when you start speaking English. I dream in English. I think first in English than in Spanish. That is so bizarre to me. Lately, it's been happening to me that the word tempting, and I have to think about it. How do you say it in Spanish? And I always say it like tentativo. No, it's not tentativo. It's Nina. Like, what is going on with you?
Mm-hmm.
And I have to actually Google it. This word means this, but how do I use it? Like past tense, future tense. Thailand doesn't have tenses. Thailand.
Oh, really?
Everything is just very like Tarzan. Everything is like, I do this tomorrow. I do this yesterday. Everything is like in present, and then everything else you try to speak it like in past or future tense.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have like a word for like past tense or verbs for past tense. That doesn't exist. So it's very confusing for them. The time, even the time as well for Thai people is, they don't get it because they divide the clock in 4 different times. So they don't understand like 10:30, 10:15. They don't.
One of the things that most learners struggle with is thinking in English.
Yes.
Thinking in the language. How did you achieve it?
It just happened. Like I got to a point where I would just think in English.
Right.
I guess it's the more you speak it, your brain tends to kind of change by itself. Like you don't even notice when that happened. No idea.
Yeah. It generally is a smooth transition when you start practicing, getting in touch with the language and with people who speak the language, integrating it fully in your daily routine. It just happens.
It just happens. You don't even realize when you start speaking English. I dream in English. I think first in English than in Spanish. That is so bizarre to me.
Right. I usually say that this is the first step to advanced fluency, dreaming in English or in whatever language. Exactly. That's interesting.
Yeah. So I usually, now that I'm here in Spain for a year, where now I speak more Spanish than English.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm speaking to my mom, and I'm like, but like, how do you say this?
Mm.
And she would be like, are you for reals? Just say it like this. That's what I'm trying to say. Like I forget words in Spanish because I've been speaking English for so long. Those basic words, it's just lately it's been happening to me that the word tempting, and I have to think about it. How do you say it in Spanish? And I always say it like tentativo. No, it's not tentativo. It's Nina, like what is going on with you?
Mm-hmm.
And I have to actually Google it, how to say it. And it's not like it's the same word weekly basis.
It's a whole lot of things that happen here in the journey. And I think one of the things that holds people back in the first stages of fluency is translating from their mother tongue into English.
Because you want to do it literal. And sometimes it doesn't work that way. You cannot do it literal times. There is a way to say things. And it's just the lingo as well.
You need to embrace the language, but then the culture as well. Mm-hmm. That is actually what helps you express yourself in the language. It's not just the linguistic aspect. It's the whole paradigm, how people express their emotions, how they put specific words on specific things, and how they describe specific feelings, and the whole package. And that's how exposure helps. And you said it all. It first started with listening, a lot of listening practice, not just reading or going through a grammar book, your typical verb tenses and everything. Like, that's good, but that's not necessarily what helps you.
It doesn't help.
Exactly.
To first read.
Mm-hmm.
No, you need to first learn the audio part.
Right.
You need to learn how you pronounce everything first.
Right.
Because it doesn't matter that you read something if you don't know how you have to pronounce each letter.
Yeah.
And with English, especially, that the sound will change. It depends if what letters are together. Not like in a Spanish, it's just one sound, But I also found it with German. In German, it's the same. In German, it's just like in Spanish. It's just one sound. But in English, it doesn't happen that way. It just depends. This letter is with this letter, and you pronounce it like that. But if it's another letter, then you pronounce it like this. It's
Right.
confusing. So
It's faster when you go the practical way. You learn things, and then over time, you can adjust and establish a connection between what you've learned practically and then the theory behind it. Going the other way probably helps more achieve fluency than the traditional way, theory before practice.
It's something that goes together, really. In Thailand, I was teaching a lot of conversational English mostly because that's what the schools want. They want the kids to be able to communicate. So most of the classes are conversational, but you do need to give them some grammar for them to be able. Oh, okay, like this word means this, but how do I use it? Like past tense, future tense. Thailand doesn't have tenses. Thai language.
Oh, really?
Everything is just very like Tarzan. Everything is like, I do this tomorrow. I do this yesterday. Everything is like in present, and then everything else you try to speak it like in past or future tense. They don't have like a word for like past tense or verbs for the past tense. That doesn't exist. So it's very confusing for them. The time, even the time as well for Thai people is they don't get it.
Wow.
Because they divide the clock in 4 different times. So they don't understand like 10:30, 10:15. They don't kind of get it, the head around that. It's same with the words. There are some letters that they can't pronounce, like the or they sing everything. So obviously every person is different. Some people learn better having the grammar first, and then you give them the activity. Some others are different. Some others prefer to have the activity first, and then once they see the grammar, oh, that's how it works.
And how did you approach mistakes in the learning process?
While teaching?
While learning English, were you afraid of making mistakes?
No, because at the end of the day, I always will say to either my boyfriend at that point, or my dad, or my friends, when I'm speaking and you hear me saying something wrong, don't let it pass. Correct me, because otherwise I'm not going to learn. So if I say it either because it's bad pronunciation, bad tense, or let me know so then I can correct it and then start speaking like it is. Because it's no point. You don't tell me that I'm doing something wrong, and then I make a fool of myself and speaking like a crazy person because you guys don't help me out.
Right. Okay. And traveling. What do you like the most about the traveling journey?
I love seeing different cultures, to be honest. I like how different people is in every country. I got to travel a lot in Asia. And even though, they're all, next to each other, they're not quite the same. So it's very interesting to see how people from Indonesia are so friendly, and then people from Cambodia are not as much.
And especially understanding the reason why people appear in a certain way. Sometimes it can just be a facade, but then when you get into their environments and you see the world through their lens, you understand the context.
Yeah.
And you become less judgmental somehow.
It's better when you go with like no expectations, really. You
Exactly.
go and, what do you need? Who I am to judge, or this person, who is a completely different human being from me and have grown up different from me, everything. So I just take everything. It's just nice to see how they live, what they do, why are they where they are. Because in Thailand, you will find the two kind of people. You will find very, very, very rude, cold people, even though they say, oh, Thailand is the land of smiles. Yes, Thailand is amazing. Thailand has very nice people, but it depends who you're talking to. The age group as well. The older they are, the colder they are. I think this new generation is a little bit more friendly than the older ones. And also, South people in Thailand are way warmer than North people. They're more open to, the foreigners more than the Northern people. Why? I don't know, but it is what it is.
Right. I guess it's made of ups and downs. So, what are some of the downsides of your experience?